What's up, guys and gals? It's your not host with the most, Griever, as always. As I was informed on a stream the other day that a certain Metrolata has requested that I am no longer the host with the most. This is so sad. So anyways, I told him for the next couple of weeks I will make sure to mention that I am not your host with the most. Griever, as always, bringing you guys One Piece. The next piece of One Piece. And I know I'm very late to the party with this one, but honestly, nothing that some big-time YouTubers won't cover already, and I'm not going to get too far in depth. It's more Kuma backstory. Right? And I haven't seen anybody complain about this, but I'm going to. The Bonnie age fruit. She randomly ate it while stuck in a church with no access to the outside world and somehow came across a fruit. And I mean, there's a million ways it could have happened, but the fact that they just glossed over, like, when did you eat this and who brought it in, and, you know, 100 other things, that is entirely possible, right? So, either way, yeah, we see when the original king of the Sorbet Kingdom comes back and Kuma just makes a one-man army of himself. It's called, the incident will be known as the Solo Revolution of Sorbet, the Solo Revolution of the Sorbet Kingdom. And this is what gains St. Saturn's notice and such like that. So Kuma becomes king after overthrowing, and of course everybody loves Kuma. He's still in the church, yada yada yada, and as I said, the age fruit thing comes upon Bonnie somehow. We have no damn idea how. Like, realistically, we have no idea, but they research it, they figure it out and stuff. And Kuma has the previous king, the actual good king before him, as the figurehead, but they do bring up that Kuma is a wicked dictator, he's a tyrant, he's all these things. There's an article being printed that seized the throne with violence by burning villages and all this stuff, that Kuma is this guy, right? So he's, you know, he's a very sore, and for a second time, Kuma has chosen not to kill this guy, Bikori or whatever, Bikori. He's chosen not to kill this dictator, this tyrant, right? So either way, they bring this to the attention of Kuma that, look, they're painting you in a very bad light and all this stuff. You know, the world government is on his side. You know, they don't like us and all this stuff. So this is when Kuma basically says he will not be coming back into this country. I don't care. If I have to be a criminal for a while, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Sorbet Kingdom will be free, sort of idea, right? This is when he decides to leave. He goes up against the entire armada of the Navy and stuff. Kuma sank all the ships and destroyed Bro and stuff. We don't know if this dude, what's the king's name again? Bikori, whatever his name is. We don't know if he survived that and stuff, because in the panel it shows that he went up against the armada all by himself, and it's like, there he is, Navy, kill him, kill him, kill him. He's the man who stole Sorbet Kingdom, and I will have his head and all this stuff, right? He's a tyrant, he's a this, he's a that, he's the other thing. So Kuma sank all the ships, fled to the sea, he became a wanted pirate, a bounty was placed on his head and all that stuff. And this is where Bonnie's left alone for a little while, and Kuma's there trying to figure out a way to find, obviously, the Sapphire Sickness, right? Sapphire Scale trying to find still a problem to this sickness and such. Kuma is just going from place to place. You know, sometimes he's being hunted by bounty hunters and other pirates. Sometimes, you know, he's finding peace and stuff. But either way, he's going through the journey, and he's still, like, wrecked by the idea that by her 10th birthday, if she lives to see that, it'll be no shot of a miracle. We see Dragon's ship roll up, and we finally see a few of the characters that have been missing. There's Bello Betty and Morte. They're both here at this point. They're both here. We don't really see, I don't believe we see Limburg or anybody like that, or Karasu, but we do see two of these guys. It's like, okay, alright, now we're starting to see what's going on here. And Dragon's ship looking pretty badass, by the way. Dragon's ship is pretty cool. So either way, him and Dragon have this big long discussion about being, you know, what's going on, and how about I introduce you to Vegapunk, because Vegapunk should be able to figure this shit out now that he's, I mean, it's a little odd the way it's worded, but pretty much because Dragon already knew about Kuma, but also knew about Vegapunk long before this, so it's like, why didn't you like get in contact with Kuma right away? Realistically, I think the timelines just don't add up nicely, because it makes Dragon look like he had better things to do, which granted, you can argue he did, but, I mean, you know, there was a connection you had, and you only now bring it up when it's like getting close to the end of it and stuff like that. And of course, Ginny was captain of the Eastern Forces. That's how Bella Betty became captain of the Eastern Forces and stuff. Kuma was just like, yeah, well, strong-willed woman like you taking over, that's fine and stuff. So Dragon has some sentimentality and stuff like that. So he basically sends him off to Vegapunk. Goes back, gets Bonnie, goes to Vegapunk. Vegapunk's like, wow, what's going on here? Alright, so somebody with Sapphire Scale and stuff like that. It's like, and then Sentomaru is there and all this stuff. Like, it's an interesting chapter, and I'm glad that we got to see it, but at the end of the day, nothing super crazy happens. By the end of it, it's simply, okay, Kuma became king of the Sorbet Kingdom, became the pirate that we know he was, labeled as a tyrant. Dragon finally said, hey, I know this guy that I've known for 20 years, but by the way, I'm just remembering it now. Why don't you go see Dr. Vegapunk? Maybe he can help Bonnie. Goes to see Vegapunk, and Vegapunk says, yeah, I can, you know, instead of a fee, though, how about you let me work on, you know, like, figure out your blood DNA, you know, you're a buccaneer, all this stuff. And we sort of knew that this is the way it was going to go, but it's still good to see and stuff. So it's funny because Kuma mentions something that Vegapunk mentions is like basically she'll become a cyborg. It's like it costs as much as building a cyborg. And he's like, you're going to turn her into a cyborg. It's like, no, I was saying it would cost as much as one, but ironically, he's going to be turned into a cyborg. And he's like, you're a buccaneer and stuff? He's like, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I will cure her Sapphire Scale illness and all this stuff, right? But I need you, like, I need, you know, your power and stuff like that. And he mentions lasers and all this stuff. It's, they have this heart-to-heart about being, like, basically pacifists, being good people. Like, you're a true saint and all this stuff. Soldiers are weapons. And he goes, I'm nothing like that. I'm just a weak-willed pacifist. And that's when Vegapunk, when he comes up with the idea of making this clone army. Once again, getting a lot of Star Wars Episode 2 flashbacks with this one. But he basically says, I'm just a pacifist. He says, well, I like that. I think I'll use it for the name of my future soldiers. How about pacifista, you know? So that's where he came up with the term. That's why they're called the pacifista, because they are modeled, of course, after Kuma and stuff. Satan Saturn obviously got his due diligence to do as well in the chapter and stuff like that. But either way, I don't have a whole lot. This is why the review is so late. Not that I was also not very busy, but because I was, and dealing with a bunch of other shit as well, you know. But suffice it to say is that the chapter was a lore-based chapter, and I'm good with that. We finally got, basically, we're getting the full story of Kuma here, and I'm glad. I'm glad we're getting it. But it's nothing for me to go, oh, what? Wow! You know, about. It's just not. You know, him getting that name Tyrant wasn't, you know, like some super secret or anything like that. We knew he was going to end up with Vegapunk at some point. We knew Dragon was involved at this point. Like, there's nothing crazy that happens in the chapter worthy of me doing a live reaction, nor me rushing to get this out when obviously I was quite busy otherwise. But I still enjoyed the chapter. I'd give it like a 6, you know. Nothing to write home about. I like Kuma, and I'm glad to get his backstory, but that's all that happened. It was just more Kuma backstory, more Bonnie backstory too. The creation of the Pacifista, how that name came about and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, these are nice little Easter eggs to get. Like, oh, this is where the name Pacifista comes from. Oh, this is how they met. Oh, this is how Bonnie figured out how Bonnie got the HH for it, which, by the way, wasn't explained. Just randomly ate one in a church. And we don't know who brought it in. But anyways, it is what it is. It was a fine chapter and stuff. And I mean, I'm really looking forward. I think that after the break and stuff, chapter 1100 is definitely going to jump us back to the present by the end of it. But I also think we're going to get something big. Something, a little bit of a big reveal. Generally speaking, the 100 marks, I've already made a long video about this and stuff, and you can check it, that most series, everyone expects something at milestone chapters, right? Everyone expects something big to happen arguably only twice in One Piece, maybe 3 times has that happened. I used to have a chart. I can't pull it up right now, but the video's still on the channel. You can check it out. But I went through many popular shonen and seinen and shoujo mangas showcasing that the whole idea of a milestone, whether chapter 50, 100, 200, 500, all that stuff, generally speaking, some series make sure to do it. And a lot of series, though, I would argue that they don't do it. So by the chart alone, there's a lot of series that don't do it. So I hope that nobody's going to be super disappointed if nothing huge happens next chapter. Because I certainly won't be. One Piece has showcased that at chapter 500 and at chapter 1000 they did big things. But for the most part, outside of that, not really. They're not known. Oda's not known for like chapter 200 being the biggest chapter, chapter 300 and 400 being the biggest chapters. You know, they're decidedly, you know, he lets the story flow, and if he can do a big reveal at that point, he will, or he'll make it out to work that way. But maybe not this time. Maybe not this time. So I hope nobody's going to be disappointed if nothing major, huge happens next chapter. But anyways, that was my spiel on this chapter. It was what it was. You know, I don't think there's anything really to theorize and talk about with this one. So other than why didn't Dragon bring up Vegapunk a long-ass time ago? Because I believe when we saw him, Vegapunk had black hair and Dragon didn't have his tattoo yet. So it's been quite a while since Dragon got his tattoo, knew about the Sapphire Sickness, and just saying, I think Dragon was kind of, you know, for a guy who worked for him as one of the 3 pillars, you know, I think Dragon was kind of wasting Kuma's time a little bit there, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here next time for the next piece of One Piece. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a good one, everyone. Sayonara.